So talk to me now about you finished your amazing career in college, and then you get drafted, and not only do you get drafted and you get to play the next level, but you get to play for the local team, the Saints. So talk to me about your professional career, what that was like, what it was like getting to play for the Saints too.
Well, being undrafted as a rookie was a bit of a challenge. I was a high priority though. So the story and the journey to the NFL through the NFL was just a roller coaster. So my first year, before I got picked up by the Saints, I was in Kansas City. I spent a little time in Carolina, St. Louis, and Seattle was my last stop, well, second to last stop my rookie year. And then the Saints picked me up in the playoffs. So it was just back to back to back. And then being released by New Orleans, bouncing around the league. My experience through the NFL, it had its highs and its lows. Like Super Bowl, that was just
Right.
surreal, ultimate high, great experience. But then you get cut from the team, and then you kind of go through this up and down deal, and you start to become an NFL camp body. So as good as the experience was in regards to winning a championship, playing on tons of NFL teams, living a dream, it had its heartache, trying to manage a family on the road and not having concrete to stand on in terms of contracting and where you're at. And that piece of it did have a longer, more turmoil effect, but it did had its beautiful beauty in the struggle, right? We experienced that as well, because now I was able to take all the information I obtained over the years and use it in our business plan with Conquer Sports and be able to share stuff with my kids. And so there's beauty in the struggle.
Yeah, and you make a great point. I think that, when people are watching professional athletes, they're just thinking this is the dream and this is the goal, but they don't see, moving all the time, especially if you don't have a long-term contract, they don't know what it's like just staying in hotel after hotel all the time. It's a lot, and it is stressful. It's not just like you said, all the beauty, like there is the struggle side to it as well. So you make a really good point there. And how many kids do you have now?
Oh, three
Three
boys.
kids. Okay, three boys. So what's your kind of advice to them and even to other like local kids here in New Orleans about wanting to play at the next level? Like what kind of advice do you give them in terms of where to start and what their goals should be?
Well, the first thing I tell them is it is hard. It is extremely hard. It is tough as nails to get in the NFL, to get in the XFL, to get in the CFL. It is extremely hard. Because it's extremely hard, harder than nails, it requires a mindset that is different from the average person. So what I mean by that, to get into detail, you're going to get told no a million times. Each week is going to be a psychological game in regards to bringing in other guys at your position. It may have been a guy that might have been a little better than you in college, and you're like, man, this is about to be rough. It's a psychological thing. Having a strong faith base is important. Staying in the Word of God and just being able to ask Him to give you discernment and give you light, guiding light through this process, because you're going to need it. It's essential in collegiate football and in the NFL, just for the simple fact of it's super competitive. Now in college football, you have NIL and the transfer portal. It's got the road has gotten much harder.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be consistent as well. You have to be able to take the information that the coaches give you and have it down to a science to where it looks like you're playing error-free ball. You make a mistake, you have to move away from that play as if that mistake didn't happen, because if you sit on that mistake, oh, Coach Hart made a mistake, they're going to pick up on that as well. So, yeah, I think that's the most – because the average person, and I'm saying this not to disrespect your novice pro football player or person who was an all-star in high school and just wanted to be able to take their knew that if they wasn't working the 9 to 5 or the job that they're working, that they could be playing in the NFL. It's not that easy. It is so hard. And lastly, on that, what makes it so hard, it's a numbers game. Bottom line, point blank, period, 45, 46 guys dressing out. That's period per team. And then to make the team, like to be there as a guy on the active roster that travels but don't play and or make it to the practice squad, that is hard as well. Because now that puts you in 67, 68 players per team, and it's only 32 teams. It's hard. It's millions of skilled athletes that want to do this and could do this, but it's only 22, 2,300 that actually make it in the NFL. Period. That's how hard it is because the percentage is like hitting the lottery. So my advice to the young student athlete that want to do this, particularly here in Louisiana, because we are on the top side of that because we still lead per capita in regards to professional athletes in baseball, basketball, and football. So each of those sports have a large opportunity, but you can't screw off in school. Like when I was going through the draft process, my coach from West Jeff told me the Oakland Raiders hit them up and was asking questions about me, like what kind of student I was. This is years away from West Jeff. I've been gone from West Jeff right at 6 years. But they won't know all of that. They want to do their research before they make their investment. It's a large investment, and these are businessmen. So at the end of the day, they want to return on their investment. So it was just an interesting path. But if anything we talked about today, that's one important thing that I want young athletes to know.
No, you're so right because the odds are so slim. It's slim to play in college at any level, let alone D1, be a starter, and then go pro. I mean, you're right, like hitting the lottery. And I was actually talking to Braden Jobert from the LSU baseball team the other day and got to interview him for a little bit. And he was just saying, when you play at this high of a level, you've got all these guys on the team who are the best where they were at, and you've got half of them not even playing at LSU, period. Like they're on the team, but they don't get any playing time. So you're right, that mentality is a huge factor in it. And I like what you said about you can't mess around in the classroom, but same thing with social media. That is such a huge factor now. Coaches are checking all of that and they're going back into your history, from when you were in junior high to see. So what have you seen, especially the last 5-10 years with other guys? Like, hey, what advice do you have on that in terms of social media for kids here in Louisiana?
I mean, I would advise them to seek counsel in regards to, our company, we have a department at Conquer Sports that kind of help navigate the parents through not only the recruiting process, but the process of going to the next level. Seek counsel is going to be important because it'll be times where you will have to, how could I explain this? Be cautious all the time, but when you have a team around you, you'll have guidelines. So I think, especially now with NIL, if you want to be able to, because now you're representing other brands, right? So it's a lot of moving pieces. Back then we were just representing the university. Now with the opportunity to gain capital for your name, image, and likeness, you have to just make sure you're sharpening it. So yeah, that would be my biggest advice.
And so talk to me a little bit about Concourse Sports and what y'all are doing here and what kind of impact you're making with what you're doing with that.
Conquer Sports was started with me and Skylar Green back in 2017. We started Conquer Sports Pros, and then shortly after Conquer Sports Pros, we ended up continuing to work with the high school students here in the Louisiana area, not only with training, but media and sports consultation is a combination of what our deal really entails. And it really starts with being able to know how to navigate this process. So all we really did was take our experiences and really put it into modern terms.
That's so helpful because you're right. There's a lot to navigate. So I'm sure that y'all have been very helpful along that whole journey. for the athletes here. So that's great. Okay, a couple quick questions for you. First one, what is your prediction for the LSU football season coming up?
I do think we can win 10 games, 10 plus games, and I do think we will win the SEC West. It's a card shuffle after that. Does this team have the potential to take it all the way to the national championship and win it? Yes, I think we do. I think we have the tools. So I do predict a 10 plus win season. I do think we have one of the better quarterbacks in the league, so we're going to see a lot of yardage, and it's going to be a great, exciting year for the Tigers, starting with that big win against Florida State.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And then what do you see happening with the Saints season coming up? We got our new quarterback and hopefully we've got a lot of the injuries taken care of. So what's your prediction there?
The Saints could win between 10 to 12 games. I do think they're the best team in our division. Going against Carolina, Tampa, and Atlanta, those are teams who are developing at the quarterback position and
Mhm.
or trying to figure out. We don't know who's going to be the guy. Is it going to be Baker Mayfield? Is it going to be Kyle Trask? Having Derek Carr, a veteran quarterback, at the helm for the Saints, it brings a sense of comfort. You see it with Michael Thomas. You see it with the running back core and the coaches. That it's not saying he's Drew Brees, but he's someone who gives that leadership that the team has been missing. So I think the Saints, kind of like LSU, can win 10 plus games, get in the playoffs. They should be, of course, win our division and have that slot in.
Yeah. Yeah. And Louisiana fans, they're going to go nuts if we've got solid LSU and Saints seasons going on this year, which would be great. What have you seen from Louisiana fans in terms of their passion and what kind of dedication they give in their support?
I think we have some of the best fans in the world. It's one of the unique places where the fan base love you so much. They feed you. They love you. They're here with you. They're tough on you now. You don't get the wins. They're gonna be on your tail a little bit there. So I look at it. One of the best fan bases. I'm forever in love with them. I still feel the love to this day. Go Saints. Go Tigers, man. Go Voodoo. Go Louisiana. Hello, somebody.
That's right. Yes, I hear you on that. Well, good. Well, thank you so much for taking time to just chat today and kind of get it out there a little bit more. Everybody loves, like you said, Louisiana, we say die hard. So if you've ever been part of LSU or Saints, we're going to love you forever. So we really appreciate you taking some time out to chat with us and give some insight into your life. So appreciate it a lot.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Peace.